We've been talking about when in the COVID pandemic does it become a Republican virus in the United States? Why would it become a Republican virus? Well, three reasons. Number one, Republicans are far less willing to get vaccinated than everybody else. Number two, Republicans are less willing to wear masks than everybody else. And number three, Republicans are less willing to accept and participate in other sorts of precautions, physical distancing, reducing crowd sizes, provisions in schools, etc., than others. So over time, we would think this might become a Republican pandemic in the United States. You look at Republican governors. Republican governors are much less likely to require vaccines or to go with vaccine requirements in their states. And they're much less likely to put in place mask or to support mask mandates in their states and to support other precautions. So we've been saying for months, to some degree, it's probably already a Republican virus in the United States, more so than anything else based on those numbers. And now we have the proof. The New York Times just released a map of the COVID death rate since June 16. So this is roughly the last 100,000, 120,000 deaths from June 16 forward. June, July, August, September. OK, it looks like a map of Republican voters. We have the map up on the screen. The map that we have on the screen could be a map of where people voted for Donald Trump most heavily. It's actually a map of where we've seen the highest per capita COVID death rates over the last 100 or 120,000 deaths. And in fact, we can put up on the screen side by side the map of the last 100,000 deaths per capita, 100,000 deaths on a per capita basis on the left. And on the right, a map that shows support for Donald Trump versus Joe Biden by blue and red dots. Now, I know that a ton of people will say, hold on a second, David. Whoa, hold on, sir. The states with the most per capita deaths are blue states. Remember, it's New York, it's New Jersey, it's Massachusetts. For a little while, it was California. First of all, that's no longer true. So that might have been true 7 months ago. If you now look at the top 15 states by per capita COVID death rate today, you'll see that now it's a ton of red states, the reddest. Mississippi has the highest per capita death rate. New Jersey's still there. Then you've got Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, Arkansas, Georgia, South Carolina, South Dakota, Indiana. It's more and more red states. What happened? What happened is exactly what we've been predicting from day one. Early, before we knew anything about the virus, when it was too early to know what to do, this was a new pandemic. The places that had the bad luck to be early infected places did the worst by far. These were places that were connected by direct flights to China and to the parts of Europe that had early spread, like Italy and a few other countries. So overwhelmingly, that meant the big airport gateways on the East Coast, New York and Boston. At one point, it was California to some degree. Illinois with Chicago Airport and so many United and American Airlines flights to the places with the early spread. Those are all blue states, blue cities. But over time, as we learn more about how do you suppress spread, what does and doesn't work, we saw blue states get more vaccinated than red states. We saw blue states wear more masks and the like. We expected that the deaths would start to move over to red states on a per capita basis. Once the virus was everywhere, rather than the chance of what places had the flights to China and Italy early on, we expected the deaths would shift to the places that are not getting vaccinated and are not wearing masks. And that has now happened, plain and simple. The last 100,000 deaths have been most heavy, as you can see on the map, in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Texas. You get the picture. So there's nothing surprising here. The shock is how political the deaths have gotten. Now, of course, liberals in red states are dying too. Of course, conservatives in blue states are dying too. But this is the trend. This should really scare the Republican Party, not because they care about people dying. I don't know if they do. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. They don't seem to, but maybe they do. But this should scare the Republican Party because it can't be good for winning elections to see your voters disproportionately be the ones dying from a pandemic that you are failing to do the things that public health experts say should be done in order to control it. It's not possible to miss when you look at that map how the deaths, the last 100,000, 120,000 deaths, are aligning with voting trends. Vaccination against a 100-year pandemic virus is now a test of political allegiance. It is an incredible thing. And unfortunately, it seems like this is going to be the trend for some period of time. Cases continue to decline. That'll benefit everybody. But it seems like it is really not good in many of these red states. And I guess I was naive. I thought something like this might actually cross party lines and people would just come together and listen to public health experts and doctors. But no, I was wrong again. I was the naive buffoon. Hey, listen, on October 19th, Tuesday, October 19th, we're doing something very special. We are doing a live town hall. This will be exclusively on the new David Pakman Show YouTube channel, on the second channel called Pakman Live, 6 p.m. East, 3 p.m. West on Tuesday, October 19th. We will be doing a live town hall. All questions will be open. Members will get priority in the queue to talk to me and to ask questions. This will not be on the main YouTube channel. This will not be on Twitch or Twitch, as some people call it. It will not be on Facebook. This will be on the Pakman Live YouTube channel. Find it at youtube.com/Pakman Live or davidpakman.com/Pakman Live. They both go to the same place. Mark it in your calendar. Tuesday, October 19, 6 p.m., exclusive Pakman Live only town hall. And in the meantime, always, you can let me know what kind of crazy hijinks people are up to with masks and vaccines in your state by finding me on Twitter at @dpakman.